I heard
Like a couple of limp noodles slapping together.
Tell you what, next time I will come in with like a big hardcover book, and I'll break my fucking desk in half.
Yeah, do that.
How's that sound?
I look forward to the day.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Press X the podcast, where you've got your buddies from COGconnected and that other guy. We're in a post-God of War world where we've got Sean Petraschuk alongside me.
Yeah, Sean Petraschuk, who did nothing but play Mad Dad in the Fine Lad. I like how you wrote that there. He is a fine lad, isn't he?
He's not bad. You know, I kind of thought he was a little shithead for a while, but he really pulled it out, a couple hours in. And making his return to the number 3 spot, it's James Paley.
Hello.
We can't call you fresh meat now.
Well, I mean, you could, but it would be a blatant misnomer, so don't.
Maybe don't do that.
I can't really argue. All right, fair enough. You're an experienced member of the cast at this point.
Huzzah!
Bully!
Nothing. Just huzzah. Should we just get down to brass tacks and talk about God of War?
Well, I mean, inevitably the conversation has to go there, doesn't it?
I think we should try to get as much of it off of our chests now, so it's not coloring the news and the Facebook group and the emails and all that other stuff.
Makes sense.
Why don't we just talk God of War for a good solid
as long as it takes. Can we talk about how Kratos is the king of the hover hand?
He's pretty good at it, yes.
He just leans in. But before there's any chance at real affection, immediately, boy. I'm waiting for the moment where Atreus turns around. He's like, "Bitch, call me boy one more fucking time. I will fucking end you, boy."
Yeah, I really like the way they've written the story. As it's so self-serious at times, and then other times it's so obviously poking fun at itself. Oh man, it's so good.
I'm finding that there's I love the fact that with the more open world style that there's tons of side things to do, and I get sucked into that rather than even progressing through the main story. I mean, I've always been like that with games that are open, but the side type quests are really good as well. And, the rewards that you usually get out of them make them pretty worth it too.
Yeah, the diversity in the loot and the talismans and things like that is really good. And the combat is just so much fun.
It's super
when you're
satisfying.
When you're just wrecking the low level enemies, it is so satisfying. Everything has I don't know, just every sound in the game has so much weight and force behind it. Everything's being done angry.
Have you played it, James, or are you the fellow on the outside looking in?
Mostly on the outside looking in. My roommate has brought it into the house, and I have witnessed a fair bit of it, although I haven't had a chance to dig into it myself.
You can't pry it out of his hands? Let me have a turn! I just want to have one turn!
I mean, I probably could if I, really worked at it, but
or if you offed him.
Yeah, but we're gonna wait to resort to that.
Give me the fucking DualShock, man. Gimme.
Do you want to talk about anything before we go down this rabbit hole, James?
I guess I can mention the fact that I've been playing something besides God of War this week.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, a little while ago, my girlfriend was kind enough to procure for me through means an Oculus Rift.
She stole it.
And no, it was given to her.
It was given to her off the back of a truck?
I mean, you know what? Fine. Yes. For the purposes of this discussion, it was given to her off the back of a truck.
I hope there's no authorities that listen to this podcast.
I also hope there's no authorities listening to this podcast. So
We're above the law.
Breaking
that's
the law.
good.
Breaking
Good.
the
That'll
law.
make this story a lot easier to tell. Um, I Yeah, so it's in my house. Took a while to set it up. Kind of a pain in the ass. The cameras are kind of weird and annoying, but and if you touch them slightly, then it like fucks the whole thing up. You got to do it all again. It's great, but the games, some of them, are just friggin' amazing. Super Hot, which is already a fantastic title, is so much better in VR.
I've heard that. You're not the first person I've heard say that, but like it really kind of ups the ante when it comes to VR games.
You feel like a complete badass, even though you are basically made of like weird, shitty polygons. Because you can block bullets and dodge bullets and grab weapons out of the air and then throw those weapons and do all that crazy cool shit.
What's the in Super Hot though? What's the mobility like? Are you quick moving in that game or?
Oh, in the VR version, you don't move. Actually, you don't walk around. You're just like the action kind of revolves around you. So but that's the thing, because of the way the cameras and the sensors and shit are set up, so that when you decide, oh, I'm gonna like dodge a bullet or whatever, you standing up have to actually do that, and it picks up in a sensitive enough fashion that you can do that. And there's this really amazing feeling where you're like ducking behind a barrier and trying to like dodge a slow motion scatterburst of like shotgun shit or whatever. And it's just a really amazing experience that I have never had before in a video game. I don't know. It's very
the fun thing about that sort of stuff is it's an amazing feeling, and then for anybody who's watching you from the outside, you look like a total jackass.
It is hilarious.
I've seen so many videos where it's just watching people play VR, and I don't know what's more entertaining, like the actual game or just literally watching them, because it's fucking fun.
It's watching them. Having been to a convention or two in my time, there is definitely the disease known as the VR lean that people get when they're playing VR, and they don't realize that they're not actually standing vertical, and their knees are actually bent at some obscene angle, and they think they're standing straight.
And when you see them, and you see them like actually fall over or that sort of thing, that's funny. But I think there was a pretty good like rash of them when VR was just kind of starting to ramp up. When the first few horror games came out, and literally it's just clips of like 15 different people playing horror games and watching them just shit themselves, just fucking freak out. It is so funny to watch. For me, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, because obviously we've been over how much of a sissy I am. But from the outside looking in, it's pretty fucking funny, man.
Yeah, you are a little bitch when it comes to horror games.
I don't know if we talked about this before, but playing PT, and it was me, my wife, and two friends of ours, and we all would pass the controller when we eventually lost our gumption at different points. It's like, no, I'm not fucking doing that. You play it. You know, over it goes, over it goes, over it goes. And it came to this one part where you come around the corner, right kind of where the front door is, for anybody who knows PT in that opening spot there. And that ghost or whatever is hovering in front of you. And I just dead stopped. And I'm like, I don't want to walk forward. I don't want to walk forward. So the obvious solution is to go backward. And I would like just flick a little bit back at a time. Like I just didn't want to move anything too quickly. And when that thing came at me, I threw my DualShock straight to the ceiling and actually broke it. I like literally tossed it to the ceiling. I got so fucking scared. And I mean, it's not like I didn't know it was coming. Like, what is my problem? Why am I the way that I am?
I truly hope that you find that answer that you're looking for someday.
Yeah, there's hope, I guess. We'll see.
So going back to Mad Dad and the Fine Lad, Sean, tell me more.
Oh, I mean, it's really new. So we're definitely, and you'll agree with me, Paul, like this story is so good, and you're just seeing a side of Kratos that you've never seen before. That I would encourage anybody, like literally anybody, to go out there if you have the ability to experience it for yourself. But I mean, I think the highlight for me has just been the set pieces. Like the battles are fucking epic. The first major battle that you get in, I mean, that was enough of an intro for me that I actually put the controller back, put the controller down after that. My wife was sitting in the room, and she doesn't give a shit about video games, of course, but I'm explaining to her why it was so good, but it's leveled too, right? Like when you think the fight's over, it's not, and it just keeps coming back, but then they're peppering it with, not only is the action itself, like the gameplay really good, but it pulls you in as well to the point where you're wondering what's going on, and just it all fits together so well that, I mean, in terms of like highlights for game development, man, like they are setting a high bar with this. And I mean, Santa Monica, they've got their work cut out for them just to beat themselves when they inevitably come out to do something new. They've really done a bang up job.
And the set pieces are really proving what we were talking about either last week or the week before about QuickTime events, and that they don't have to be a bad thing. At the climax of a battle, if there's a bit of a QuickTime event in God of War, it's so epic and so awesome, and Kratos is such a badass that I don't care that I pushed one button and something awesome happened.
Yeah, and you know what I do kind of like? You can actually go into the settings, and depending on how you prefer to play, you can change them from if it's a button mash situation, you can actually change it from button mashing to just hold it. So like they get that people don't like certain things, so like there's room to change there. But I've never been a big hater of QuickTime. I mean, don't rely on it like solely. I mean, games like Telltale, that's kind of like the only mechanic they have based on the style of game it is. But for an action game, don't throw too many in there. But it's not necessarily, like I say, it's treated like it's a 4-letter word. Ooh, QuickTime event. Ooh, God, no, I'm not playing that. But you're right, they do it so well, and it's almost seamless, where it doesn't feel like it's intruding on the gameplay itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And the combat is super challenging, especially if you turn it up beyond whatever the normal setting is called. It is very challenging.
Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, some of us... are
sadists,
hate what we've become, and
punish me.
We need punishment.
That's right.
Yeah.
Stick that gag in my mouth.
Yeah.
I mean,
just you got to really feel like you earned that trek up the mountain. It can't just be like a leisurely walk or a hike. It's got to be fucking savage, so that when you do get there, you feel like a real big man.
It's not leisurely. Half the time you're chasing down your idiot kid who ran ahead and got himself in a fucking trouble. Little bastard.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
You'll understand when you have kids. Kids are a pain in the ass. I relate to this in so many ways. Like, I am literally the mad dad. I am the mad dad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys noticed or seen any of the memes now that are starting to poke up about making fun of Kratos and Boy? I saw one where it was Foghorn Leghorn, which is what is Foghorn Leghorn? He's Looney Tunes, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah. So, anyways, they got Foghorn all painted up in God of War paint, and he's like, "Boy, I say boy," and I'm just like, "Yeah, that's pretty good." And there's a whole bunch of them popping up now of like different characters painted like Kratos saying "boy," and it's fucking funny.
Boy,
it's so funny.
I'm not one who's usually into games that are super self-flagellating and you just bash your head against. Like, I don't really like Dark Souls. I liked Bloodborne a little more, but they've balanced it out really, really well in this game. It's to the point where it never feels cheap. It's never that the enemies are getting in hits that they don't deserve. It's that you fucked up and you're now paying for it.
Yeah.
So...
But I mean, I find too,
and there's way more flexibility in the combat than something like a Dark Souls. There's way more combos and with the ruins and things like that. There's way more you can do in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you have a chance to tailor it in a small way, with the runes and the enchantments and stuff like that. Tailor it a little bit to the way that you choose to play, right? Putting strength in certain spots or whatnot. Mm-hmm. But then, I mean, as challenging as it is, I mean, it's forgiving in a sense in that, like, when you restart, usually you're not restarting too far back. Like, the game's internal save points are fairly forgiving. So I find
they're pretty generous.
Yeah, so I find that even if I get bested in one particular fight, I start back right at the beginning of that fight, not way further back. So I'm not getting angry. I'm just going, okay, I've just got to be better, right? And I mean, and in the same way too, you're learning the mechanics of how to play and how to face certain enemies. And that's probably one of the big strengths too, is there's so much different strategy from enemy to enemy. Each one has to be tackled in a very unique manner. You know what I mean? And it just allows you, especially if it starts mixing up enemies where you've got, there's some enemies where the Leviathan axe is useless on, right? So, I've been doing it where I had one battle where I chucked the Leviathan axe into the head of one character to freeze him, and there were too many of them. So he was frozen in place, which gave me a chance to turn on to one of the Reavers, who you have to fight barehanded.
Okay.
So I'm like, I'm making one enemy stationary, dealing with another, recall the axe, free, they're just constantly thinking on your feet the whole time. And one misstep though, and they will own you, But again, like you said, you pointed out, Paul, it's not punishing, it's forcing you to learn the mechanics and improve.
Yeah, you'll like it, James. I mean, I don't think there's a person in the world that would not like this game.
Well, there's Xbots.
Oh yeah.
Didn't we have a special Xbot like ripping all over the podcast the other day?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he was. He was not too happy with how we were treating Forza.
Hey, Forza's a great game. I mean, whatever. I mean, I think there's one thing that I would like our listeners, sometimes they might hear us go, oh, you guys are picking on this or picking on that. I mean, we've all been in this industry for a long time. I mean, in terms of, players, we've been playing for 20, 25, 30 years. But I mean, in terms of even media or whatnot, we've got, 7 years experience, 8 years experience. James, you're a little newer, but I mean,
Yeah.
But the thing is, though, is that we're always coming at these things not from an angle of trying to pick on anything, so much as taking the information that's there and interpreting it, right? Seeing where things can be better. It's not about, trying to choose any one over another. It's just about showing where things need to improve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A little competition never, ever hurts.
It's what forces things to get better.
Yeah.
You know what you've got, Paul?
No, I don't.
You've got the eyes of a stranger.
Oh no.
I
mean, why does he though?
Well, you obviously didn't listen to
bit.
last week's podcast, James. So this is the second podcast in a row where I've had to fire you from podcasting.
I keep very busy working for the site, I'll have you know.
Oh, God, excuses. No, there's. I bought this rather unique mixer pack of fine beverages from Parallel 49, and there's 12 separate brews in the case, and each one is named after a different new wave song. And I officially have to sing the name of the song as I open the beer. So, Eyes of a Stranger is what I'm drinking right now.
I think we really hit our stride last week when you started singing I'm Turning Japanese. That was a good point.
That's pretty special.
That's a touch of class right there.
Yeah, yeah. I was actually just more impressed that I actually knew who sang it, more than the fact that I knew the words to the song.
Do you still remember?
Turning Japanese is the Vapors, my man.
Right. I knew that. I didn't know that, but now I know that.
But now you know that.
Thanks,
it's forever
Sean.
in your head. You're welcome. Here to serve.
Yep.
No, knowing is half the battle,
That's what they say.
It's true.
Who said that?
The like G.I. Joe people,
I just wanted to see if you knew. I mean, that's a little.
Knowing is half the.
That's a little out of your age category, isn't it?
No.
What are you,
G.I.
like
Joe
25?
should be in everyone's age category.
What are you?
I am older than that, Sean.
I know.
He's over 25 and has a fully formed prefrontal cortex. Don't worry.
I'm not going to comment.
I mean, like, we're not going to cut me open and find out for sure, but we're pretty certain it's a fully formed prefrontal cortex.
You know what I want to know right now?
Mm.
Oh, that's what's going on. Holy shit. Okay, I'm sitting in my office and I can see out my front window, and I just noticed my truck just sitting in the cul-de-sac. Nobody's in it. My car is literally just sitting in the middle of the cul-de-sac, and I'm like, what the actual fuck is going on? And then I realized that my wife moved it out of the driveway so she could take pictures of my house because we're trying to sell the house. But that really fucked with me for a second. Sorry for the interruption.
I'm glad we got to the bottom of that.
It just weirded me out.
I was worried.
It's like, it was just one of those things that, like, as soon as I saw it, I couldn't help but actually comment on it. What the fuck? What's going on? But that problem solved.
I mean, thank God somebody's not trying to very slowly steal your truck. That would be terrible.
Somebody did steal my wife's car right out of our garage, but, you know, we did this silly thing where we went to sleep with the garage door open, and she actually left the keys in the car. So She basically gave it to them. Here, take my car.
It's very...
So the local druggies who... there was one bad house in the neighborhood where these guys, we knew that they were selling drugs. Someone must have come over and been like, sweet, we've got a ride home. Because they didn't trash the car. They just drove it somewhere else and neatly left it there. And we got it back a couple days later.
Wow.
Yeah.
How considerate.
Yeah, well, I kind of expected it to be like absolutely like, you know, like burned out on the inside or something. But no. They stole her GPS. That's kind of the worst of it.
I was thinking it was going to be a really Canadian story and they'd have left a thank you note inside.
God, I wish.
Oh, man. That would have been fucking awesome.
So now that we're like a half hour in and all we've talked about is God of Dad. Dad of Boy. Dad of Boy. Boy.
Dad the Rad Lad.
Boy, read it. Read it, boy.
Yeah, he never asked nicely. You did good.
What does it say?
But not good enough. It's like, God damn it, when will you just approve of me? The boy is not ready.
Hey, give him a break. He's just a boy.
Oh, we know.
Should we just move on into the news?
The news.
Yes.
Trevor's so much better than me at that.
He gets so into it.
Yeah, he really owns it. He works it.
If there's one thing we can know Trevor for, it's working it.
Working it. It's a compliment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been to my fair share of E3 parties with that man, and I can tell you for certain he can work it.
He sure can. I mean, I believe the politically correct word is schmoozing, isn't it?
He is a master of the grip and grin.
And he keeps his usual awkwardness on the minimal too. One time we were at a party 3 years ago, I think it was, and you know, like guys do, we had to go to the bathroom at the same time, so you know that was kind of weird. And so we're standing at the urinals, going to the bathroom, and there's another guy who's in on to the left of myself. And so three gentlemen lined up going to the bathroom, and Trevor decides he wants to fuck with me. Well, and I believe there was somebody else like washing their hands too. So there's 4 of us in there, and he leans over and he's not quiet about it. He's like, "Hey, somebody small penis you got there." I'm like, "You fucker." I think it was 3 years ago. It was a while. He was pretty trashed, but it was pretty funny.
I can hear it coming out of his mouth.
Oh yeah. I think what was funnier is that he thought at that point that he was funnier than the funniest comedian you've ever seen, ever. So like he like was chuckling to himself for like the next half hour. Hey Sean, you remember that time I said your penis was small?
Oh my god.
What
a class
drunk.
act.
He was so drunk. It was so good.
Please tell me it was at a Call of Duty event or something.
No, it was one of the events where the booze flows freely though. It was I think it might have been I wonder if it might have even been my first, because Trevor and I were walking back from an event. We had a bunch of DJs and shit, Dylan Francis and stuff like that, and we had to walk back to our ghetto hotel in the middle of like ghetto town, and yeah, it was a long walk. He made me stop at like 4 a.m. so he'd get pizza. He drunkenly called his wife. Yeah, it was a good time. It was a real good time.
No.
Yeah,
Wow.
shenanigans. That's what we do.
Well, speaking of E3 shenanigans, presumably we will see this there. But there was some Crackdown 3 news suggesting a release date might be coming up soon.
Yes.
Or an announcement of a release date might be coming up soon. The game will not be.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
It has to hit before holiday, or like for holiday, period. It's not going to 2019. It says here it's scheduled for a spring release. Man, that sucks. I mean, I don't know. This is the same shit that we went on about last week. You know, like, they just need to get their shit together and get games out. This was announced 4 fucking years ago. Like, maybe just hold on to the secret for another 3 years and then tell us about it. Don't wait at, like, fucking just the tip for 5 years.
Does it still look like it's 5 years old, or do you think they've updated it, or
boy, I don't know. It sure looks like an Xbox 360 game to me.
I mean,
yeah,
is that... I don't know. I mean, it looked pretty good to me when I played it, but I mean, I would imagine maybe I am looking at it through a little bit of like the rose-colored glasses thing, because I loved the, like, especially the first Crackdown so much, but also like just that cell shading style. Like, what else is it supposed to look like? You know, I mean, it doesn't have that same depth and texture, we'll say, as, you know, a more developed type game is. You know what I mean? Like, I say more developed, but like, you know, look at something like a God of War, where it's just there. You know, it's absolutely insanely beautiful, but that style lends itself to that. Whereas Crackdown is like watching a cartoon in action. So I don't know. I think it still looks good. I don't know.
But for a cartoony looking game or a cell shaded game, does it look good compared to, say, Ni no Kuni 2? Which looks ridiculous.
Yeah, but I mean, does Ni no Kuni 2? I mean, I haven't played it. How does it look in gameplay as apart from cinematics? Like, is that it looks? I mean, I imagine it probably looks amazing. I mean, who am I kidding?
It looks like Ghibli.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know what though? I mean, I'm glad to see that. Like, at least it's on the horizon. At least it's not one of those victims of, you know, oh, we announced it and then we canceled it, like we talked about last week. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad to see that it's coming, but I wish it was just coming sooner, because, I mean, like we talked about, Xbox really needs to start pumping out quality content that you can only get there, because they're not gaining any favor.
Well, sometimes it...
Sorry, go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, sometimes it kind of seems like they're slowly but surely shuffling back to the PC racket, because... correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm under the impression that more or less every game that's available on Xbox One is also out on PC. Like, they're having like 100% crossplay thing, and that
all the new ones are crossplay.
Yeah, and it just seems like a really great way to make sure that nobody actually has to own your system. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I think too, you're discounting the fact that a lot of us prefer to game on a console purely because we just don't want to fart around with you know, the constant upgrading of a PC. You know what I mean? I think the idea of plug and play, a lot of people just like it. I mean, that's why I still play PC games, don't get me wrong, but the fact that I put a disc in and a game just plays kind of works for me. You know,
it's pretty lovely.
Yeah, you know, I don't want to fart around with, oh, I need new drivers. I mean, the worst we have to do is the game needs to update. But I'm lucky enough to live in a place where I've got high speed internet, so I don't really give a fuck. It takes like 2 minutes, right?
But the other thing is that at this point, the standard Xbox One is basically the same amount of graphics horsepower as plugging an HDMI cable into a potato.
Whoa.
So I think nearly everyone has a PC that can at least match the Xbox One.
So what you're saying is
that's not a big ask anymore.
The Xbox One is just a giant, shiny, dusty paperweight.
the standard one is, and I don't know if they're just thinking that they don't need to sell those anymore, or they don't want to sell those anymore, so they're bringing stuff out on PC because people have PCs that are more powerful than that.
Well, they don't even sell those anymore, really. I mean, it's the S and the X.
Well, the S is the same. The S is the same. It's just smaller.
Well, no, the S has more power.
No, it does not.
Yeah, it does. Doesn't it have like?
They would have made a huge fucking deal about the S if it had even like.
I mean, I don't own an S, which is
horsepower.
probably a reason why I'm in the dark on this one. But I was under the impression that it like not. I'm not meaning like obviously not to the level of what you're going to get from the S to the X, but I thought from Xbox One to Xbox One S there was actually performance improvement. We'll say.
Well, they added HDR support.
Okay.
And they integrated that 2x4 of a power brick into the box.
Okay. All right. Well, okay.
Which that's better, but I mean the standard box is not very powerful at this point.
But that notwithstanding, then they still do have the X, and that can do some pretty great things. I mean, games look pretty fucking good on the X.
I mean, they sure would if they had any
if they had games
content to put out on it that wasn't Call of Duty. And,
I mean, because I'm kind of I was always an Xbox guy in terms of I like their ecosystem. As soon as the X came out, I went back to it. I mean, I'm gonna play where the power is the greatest. I mean, yeah, I've got a Pro, and if it's even though I'm probably not gonna notice it, like. You go on, the human eye type thing. I mean, how much detail are you really going to notice? It's like a subconscious thing. I'm going to go to where it's going to be the best. So I immediately went back to Xbox for all my multiplats now, right? So my Xbox is getting use, but it's certainly not for enough exclusives.
Yeah. It seems like they decided they wanted to make a super powered piece of hardware without really caring if the software immediately caught up to it. And that's fine. They gambled on this crazy powerful piece of technology. And for the most part, it seems to be working out, I think, in their favor.
It's selling well. And I mean, I think Microsoft's got a lot of good favor in terms of how powerful that machine is. But we've spoken about it 10 out of 15 episodes, basically. Cool, but where are the games? Right? So, yeah, I mean, I would hope that maybe this is a bit more of a snafu and that Crackdown manages to come out in 2018 and maybe hits the holiday season, because I think, especially this year, it just feels like that Microsoft and Xbox really need a hit. Sea of Thieves didn't do it. State of Decay is going to be cool, but it's not like we spoke on, it's not a system seller. So, I mean, I'm kind of hoping it shows up and it's impressive.
My prediction for Crackdown is that Metascores hover somewhere around a 70.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, I mean, I agree in that. I wouldn't predict it coming in the 90s or anything like that. I mean, it's just not that kind of game.
Is it a strictly single player experience, or is it going to have like a robust multiplayer part? Like, I haven't really read up on that.
Well, I mean, to my knowledge, I mean, they were going on about cloud this and cloud that. I mean, I imagine there's an online component. There has to be. Like where you're sharing the world, possibly, like a persistent world.
Because, like, I mean, if they want anything to be a system seller, it has to have some sort of dedicated online component, or else...
It'll probably have a fucking battle royale.
Fuck off.
That's the delay. Like, we'd like to release Crackdown 3, but fuck me, we gotta put in a battle royale.
We got a bandwagon to hitch on to. It's gonna take some time, guys.
That's right. Oh well. Mm-hmm. It's coming out eventually. What's next? Bullshit.
What's next is, I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this, but the Firewatch devs, Campo Santo, have been bought by Valve.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
I think this signals Valve getting back into the, like, making their own game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I don't view this as a bad thing. Like, to me, I don't think this is this isn't like, oh fuck me, EA swallowed another studio and it's eventually gonna die. This is Valve starting to throw guns behind studios that they see are doing good work because in the Valley of the Gods looks really cool. It looks really, really cool. We all know that Firewatch was amazing, you know. So they're throwing their support behind a developer that seems to be trending, you know, upward. For example, I mean, I'm not gonna, I'd say cool your jets to anybody who's like Half-Life 3 confirmed, you know. But you know,
I'm not sure Campo Santo has the chops to put out a Half-Life 3.
No,
unless it's a walking simulator.
Well, I mean, you know, but maybe a Portal, who knows, right? But regardless, I think it just shows they're getting back into it. What this means for the future of Valve in terms of actual development, who knows? But obviously, they're ready to dabble again, and I think that's cool. I mean, I'm good. I'm good with that.
I was kind of under the impression that Valve wasn't going to start seriously making games again until VR started becoming a consumer level product, like seriously.
Well, I
because like
guess we're wrong because they just did.
Well, I mean, maybe, but like, they've also gotten it. Like they also kind of threw their weight behind like Dota 2, did they not? Like,
I believe I believe they did. But this seems more like, did they throw their weight behind it in terms of development, or more so just support? You know what I mean? This seems more of them getting into the dev game again, right? Money behind actual developers and not just supporting a product that was pretty well developed already. Hey, correct me if I'm wrong.
Dota 2 gets constant updates. I could not care less about that game, but I'm pretty sure there has to be quite a substantial dev team behind that to keep the updates on a boil like they have for the last few years.
Yeah. You gotta wonder, it's like, you know, from how much people spoke about Dota and like League of Legends as well, which are both like probably still absolutely massive games, but you don't hear about them as much anymore now that we're seeing this crazy shift to the Battle Royale. I wonder, I've heard some talk where some people are saying that Battle Royale is basically the death of the MOBA. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out over the next couple of years here.
On one hand, I would be glad if MOBAs went away, but I don't really want them replaced by Battle Royales.
No, me neither.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. They'll just be replaced even if they are a replacement for Battle Royales. It just is sort of a sign of the time that yes, eventually Battle Royales will also be replaced by some other dumb fucking fad, and that all we're witnessing is a changing of the guard at the front lines of the most digestible, accessible form of gaming on Earth right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. I saw some interesting commentary about it on Twitter where people are like, for everybody who bitches about Battle Royale, let's like, you know, move over and get out of the way because this is what it is. This is what it is. And I mean, I couldn't actually argue with it. I mean, I'm not a big fan myself, but I can't argue with it. I mean, there's a reason there are 42 million people playing Fortnite. You know, I mean, obviously something about that formula works. It just doesn't work for old farts like me.
Yeah, well, you know, that's okay.
I am a grumpy old man. It's now that I have a bigger front yard when I move, I'm going to literally actually be able to yell at kids to get off my lawn. I'm looking forward to it.
when you yell at kids to get off your lawn from your porch or what have you, are you going to shake a cane perhaps, or will you have some other accoutrement?
Probably shake my cane, but to make up for it, we are going to be building a deck along the back of the house. We're actually making sure this is part of the we move in, and we're making sure we have some money left over right away to make sure that we can do this deck and then an enclosed hot tub, or as I like to call it, my sex pond. So, you know, like I might look like I'm old on the outside shaking a cane, but then I'll be in the hot tub getting down too, which keeps me young and virile.
Well, then again, you are moving to the island, so you may just have to settle for throwing empty cans of Lucky Lager at the kids.
Empty cans of Lucky. I think my life is going to have to take a real sour turn before I drink Lucky.
Cans of Lucky have their place. Let's not dunk on Lucky too much.
Yeah, they have their places. Like, I'm already 14 beer deep and all the good beer is gone and I still want to drink. It's like, I guess there's Lucky.
I'm glad you said exactly what I was alluding to. Speaking of getting salty, David Cage isn't happy, and Quantic Dream is suing the French media over negative press.
Oh, man. I'm pumped about Detroit. Don't get me wrong. I mean, as I believe, I think it was Sean Messler, our buddy boy Sean Messler,
yes.
put it, that Detroit Become Human is a David Cage-ass David Cage game. And I'm all in. And I'm with him on that. I'm like, I'm not a big David Cage hater. I'm all about it. But learn how to take criticism. It just is what it is, man. I mean, they're talking about some libel shit or slander, basically. Some comments that Cage had said that they were out of line. They were a little out of line, right? And he's trying to align himself, saying that I'm not a homophobe because I work with Ellen Page. Well, I'm not a racist because I've got a black friend. I mean, we can make, you know what I mean? It just, yeah. So anyways, I mean, it was a little bit of media that, it didn't shine on him in a positive light. But at what point do we go, you can't sue an outlet for that? You can't sue a journalist outlet for that. That's like an op-ed. It's an opinion editorial. Mm-hmm. He's going to lose this. He's going to lose.
Yeah, and it's going to be public, and it's going to make him look bad, and either he'll learn to stop doing this, or he'll just do it slightly differently.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, the game's still going to sell. It's funny that it's news. I mean, especially in terms of the game itself, I don't see it being hurt by this. But it just, like I say, especially for you guys, right? I mean, you're working in the media and you have to be able to do your job, and at times to be able to offer an honest opinion. Okay. So we're taking it away from news per se, but give an honest opinion of a way that you read the situation. That's part of being a journalist. And to think that, if I say this, I'm going to be sued. They weren't calling him anything. They weren't saying anything directly as if it was fact. They were giving an opinion. At what point did we give up that right to be able to have an opinion to the point where someone thinks that they can sue you for it? It seems just so over the top. It's almost like it's a publicity stunt. That's how it feels.
Related to this is IGN, who this week posted a meme that is worthy of a single ha and then continuing to scroll. It was a square that was half PS4, half Xbox, showing God of War on both platforms. And the one half had game, and the other half was a black screen. And, that's, whatever. That's fine. It's true.
It's kind of funny.
I'm not super thrilled with how Ryan McCaffrey responded to that, which was a sincere apology to the Xbox team on behalf of blah, blah, blah. I don't care if he got called out.
He got called out, though, by Mike Ibarra. He didn't get called out by nobody. He got called out by, an Xbox honcho, and he's like, the Xbox honcho is like, that has to be a joke, right? Well, or no, he said it can't be real. He's like, this can't be real. Yeah, it is. It's a joke. Does God of War exist on your platform? No. Ha ha ha. Literally, it's worth a ha ha ha, and then you move on. No one's using this as firepower. Well,
that's what bothers me about Ryan's response, is that he's calling it unprofessional and classless, made without his knowledge. Who cares? Why? It shouldn't matter who's critiquing you. You're in the media and you're entitled to your opinion. If you think this is a funny joke, it's a funny joke.
Okay. Now, I agree with you. I agree with you, but let's put this into maybe a little bit of a different perspective. Okay, especially I'd say us as media. I mean, I've had my time there, right?
Mhm.
We're joking around about Xbox and Sony ponies and this, that, and the other thing. And anything as a responsible media, especially with a voice as large as IGN's, we'll say, right? Where they're going on to a social platform and basically adding fire to the flame, we'll say, of console war bullshit, where you know it's like the guys on fucking Twitter who had like the Scorpio logos in their Twitter handle that were just rabid, and they would hop on anything that said Sony and just insult. You know what I mean? So kind of adding, fanning the flames of something that us as media would like to say goodbye to and go like, look, it's great. Both consoles have their worth. Let's stop like doing stuff like this. Like I can kind of see it from both sides. Like are they not just poking a bear a little bit, going like, all right, all you Xbots, like start yelling. You know what I mean?
Sure, maybe they are, but that's going to generate heat on their Instagram and on their Twitter and all that stuff.
Well, of course it will. I mean, but I think maybe more so to my question maybe is do they need it? They're the biggest gaming site in the world. Do they need that? Or I mean, maybe the question is, and I'm not leaning one way or the other. I'm just playing the advocate for asking the question: what responsibility do they have as the biggest media outlet in this industry to play a level playing field and not add to what really boils down to a very toxic environment? We've seen what it can be like.
Sure, but I don't think they need to go as far as making it a nice, soft, padded space for everybody to exist in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You know,
no,
this
yeah.
one tiny, tiny little jab is not worthy of
It's
Ryan's response.
it's so not even a fucking jab. It's like an observation. Hey, did you know this game isn't on your system? It's like, yeah, everybody on Earth knew that. It's a Sony exclusive. It's like, hey guys, look, the sun is out today. Holy shit, I feel attacked. Somebody contact my fucking legal team. No, come on.
Well, I mean, and the funny thing is that like when Mikey Barra kind of he didn't really push any further than this can't be real. It's not like he laid in and said I demand an apology. And it wasn't only Ryan McCaffrey, but Pierre Schneider, a few other guys from the IGN team. Really kind of came out against this and had it pulled and everything else. So it's kind of interesting how they responded. And I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with you guys in saying that, maybe we don't need to take ourselves so seriously. And then there is, I got to say, I mean, there's just a small part of me that goes, I'm sick and tired of hopping into a comment section that has one group fighting with another group and just the verbal bullshit and awful garbage that gets spread back and forth where I'm kind of like, let's move on past like the cheap laugh. Because that's what this is. It is a cheap laugh.
Okay, fair.
I mean, again, it doesn't hurt my feelings, so I don't really give a fuck. Right? You know what I'm saying? It's just, I hate anything that perpetuates these little shitbirds to yell at each other and just be like some of the most awful human beings we've ever encountered. You've read a comment section before, and you go, why did I do this? Why did I do this?
But people are doing that
Show
all
enough.
over the internet. It's not just the gaming industry. It's every industry, every topic.
Yeah.
It's
And they're probably
it's
going to
been
do it
boiled
regardless. They're going to do it regardless of this type of shit. They're just going to do
Right.
it anyways. Yeah, that's
right,
fair.
and just everything has been boiled down into us versus them. Like, if you think of a topic, it has been boiled down to that. There's no shades of gray on anything anymore, which is a very, very sad state of affairs.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, I think that's fair. I mean, again, I don't feel they needed to apologize by any stretch. I mean, I thought that was a little bit much.
Anyways, I think that's going to do it for the news, since we're looking a little long in the tooth on the old clock here.
What a surprise!
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're all shocked.
We could
Yes, we do.
we could make it a 90-hour podcast.
No.
Is that a allusion to the 90-hour work week joke from Neocore Games?
Yeah, they should have just let it go. I mean, I should have just moved on. But I mean, I don't know. I think if anything, that just the whole thing was just them cracking a joke saying, "Oh, we've got our guys working 90 hours to get this to you because they missed a deadline or something." But then the whole industry kind of blew up saying, "Don't glamorize it," because it's true. this is a tough industry, and when crunch time comes along, they work way longer than they should. So, if anything, it was just kind of a highlight. I mean, I feel bad that Neocore took the brunt of it, but it definitely highlighted that, the people who make games deserve a break. So maybe you should stop shitting on them because a game's going to take a week or two longer to come out. So and that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I heard some clinking. Are you going to start singing again?
Almost. Give me. I have another sip in my Doppelbock.
All right, let's talk a little bit about what was going on the Facebook. We had some chitter chatter and some questions up in there.
Before we get too far on this one, I know he's one of our most faithful listeners, and he knows that I say this with nothing but love. But fuck you, Rod Oracheski. It's not coming out on Switch. Nothing is coming out on Switch.
Ever again,
son of a bitch.
You decided. You made the executive decision. No more games on Switch.
No more games on Switch, Rod. Send me another email, you son of a bitch. I shouldn't say that. I gotta wake up. The day this comes out, I'm gonna wake up to like 40 emails. When's this coming out on Switch? When's this coming out on Switch?
God damn it.
I have this horrible habit of putting stupid ideas in other people's heads that affect me negatively. I need to stop with that.
Well, yeah, but you won't, and it's just like it's what we love about you, Sean, all right?
It's a quirk and also a charm.
Yeah.
I specifically love how aware you are of it. And that it just keeps happening anyway.
I believe it's called foot and mouth disease or something like that. Or
we'll go with that.
Just that problem where like you open your mouth before your brain starts thinking. That's my usual problem. I say things and then reflect on them 10 seconds later and go, fuck.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a moment of reflection and a lifetime of memories. It doesn't really compare.
I like how you're the eternal optimist here. I love it. I need that optimism right about now.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so what did Facebook have to say?
Well, it's looking like this year is going to be Battlefield Battle Royale versus Call of Duty Battle Royale. Our favorite topic, our favorite genre. What do we think will change in the way these games play to make them suit the Battle Royale genre?
I don't know. I don't know enough about them, to be honest, to really be able to comment. But it just, I don't know. It's starting to feel to me that's just like every game wants to do it, but there's only so many unique ways to do it because the premise is going to remain the same. Like whether it's 50v50 or what, right? Or last man standing.
Well, the problem with putting games like Battlefield and COD into the Battle Royale stage is that my understanding is that Battle Royale kind of relies on you assembling an arsenal and kind of accidentally becoming the superior soldier in the battlefield, where it's just like, holy shit, I survived this. This is crazy. But with COD and Battlefield, you're super soldiers. You're super soldiers competing in an arena of nothing but other super soldiers. And I feel like those two clashing ideals don't really mix without some fundamental changes being instituted.
Yeah, well, it's essentially, it's no different than, basically what they're taking, some of the fundamentals of a battle royale, like you're saying, where, you're looking here, looking there, oh, I found this weapon, or, certain things that the boosts and stuff that you're getting that traditionally aren't included in a game like that, in a game like Battlefield or whatnot. You're essentially just taking what they've already done in multiplayer, right? Whether it's a team deathmatch or something, and adding more people, or is that just me? You're taking something that they're already doing and saying, let's just add more people.
Yeah, I specifically don't think that's going to work with Call of Duty because it relies so much on that tight, close quarters gameplay with lots of corners and lots of places to hide and camp and do that stuff. I don't think that's going to transfer to a huge map and try to throw 100 people at it. So I'd be really surprised to see them actually have a 100-person mode in Call of Duty. Probably see something more like 25, something like that as the Call of Duty Battle Royale.
How do you
I
even
think that's
call it a
about as
battle
big as you
royale
can
with only
go.
25 people?
I just don't see how they can go bigger and maintain the Call of Duty field, which is why they're still selling games.
Yeah, I mean,
It suits.
I'm wondering what sort of backlash. I mean, it came out that basically there is no single player campaign, and you gotta assume, like, you're looking at people. This is a franchise that's been going on for how many years? So you gotta assume they're really alienating an absolute shit ton of fans at this point by doing away with that in favor of this. Like, yeah, you're appeasing young players who are totally down with that, and that's cool. I mean, I'm glad you're giving them something they want, but by sacrificing a long-standing part of the series for people who have played since the beginning, kind of feels like a kick in the teeth for the ones that have been supporting you all along.
Well, I think when they try to develop a battle royale function in their series, they're gonna quickly find out whether or not it works. And I think the interesting product is gonna come when they try to make it a decent final game in spite of that. Like they're like, okay, they throw all their COD players and their COD weapons and their COD systems into a battle royale sort of field, and they immediately see what doesn't work, and then how they adapt from there will be what makes an interesting game if they decide to move in that direction, which based on how many people are like bandwagoning on this fucking subgenre, they probably will.
Yeah. Remember last week, Paul, when we comment on how Activision is the next one ripe to be the big publisher who we all hate. Maybe this is going to
Mhm.
be the catalyst. It's like,
I
god
thought
damn it, fuck Activision.
I thought people were on a slow, steady fuck Activision simmer for like I don't know as long as I've been playing video games on modern systems. Like people are like, "Oh, EA is the big bad." I'm like, "Motherfuckers, it's been Activision since I was like 23. Like, where have you people been?
Yeah,
They've been evil
no,
forever."
we were commenting about how it's very cyclical that, like, like you go from, every couple years there's another publisher that's in the doghouse, and we pretty much figured that Activision was primed for the next one. EA's going to crawl out of the mud here with Anthem, and that, yeah, Activision's going to do something stupid, and we're all going to hate them for a little while until, I don't know, Ubi
It
does something
might be
stupid
Call
again.
of Duty Battle Royale.
It might be. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, I say we'll have to wait and see. I mean, I'm not going to play to begin with, but we'll see what the reaction is to it.
We'll ask Trevor.
Yeah,
He'll play
inevitably
it.
Trevor will probably review it, and yeah, I hope he kind of gives them a hard time. I do. I hope he gives them a hard time about dropping single player. I just don't think that was the right way to go about doing things.
Mm-mm. I think
One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna drink you, drink you, drink you, drink you. I'm done.
Okay, well now we know.
Yeah,
Now we know.
I was
one way
waiting
or
for my.
another.
I was
There's
waiting
no
for my
escape.
open.
Anyways, I guess that's a good time to
I
switch
love the
gears
awkward
on our
silences that we
topic.
have. I'd like to say by now our awkward silences are actually comfortable silences.
I mean, I'm completely comfortable.
I'm so comfortable.
I'm pretty fucking comfortable, I gotta say.
All right, what's next on the docket?
Well, this is more of a note than anything, but from the Facebook group, it sounds like the Switch has been hacked, and
Yep.
it's a hardware hack with no disassembly and no soldering, and it allows for homebrew installs. So scumbags everywhere, rejoice! You can, I don't know, do what you do with
Yeah.
home brewing.
Lucky for you,
Um,
cheapos, to steal games.
Hey, I feel like I should weigh in here. This was kind of brought to my attention late last night by a good friend of mine who is a huge fucking nerd, who pointed me to I believe it was an Ars Technica article, and apparently there's like 2 or 3 different groups who are getting ready to go public with this, and one of them was kind of forced to because they heard that some other group was going to do it as well,
Mm.
and apparently they're going public specifically to give Nintendo an opportunity to correct this problem, because from their perspective, this has the possibility of like I don't know, like malicious dealings basically,
Hmm.
because it's like they said, completely unpatchable. So until they come out with another line, like a hardware revision during the next round of manufacturing, anybody who has a Switch out there in the world right now, anybody can can do this thing or take advantage of this exploit. And I guess it's seen as kind of like just a matter of time before this is used for, I don't know, evil, but like stealing games is already kind of evil. So like, what kind of evil were they thinking of? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but
Like, how evil can it possibly get with a Nintendo Switch?
Not particularly. I mean, let's be real here. It's not going to be that evil.
well, I mean, and to be completely honest, I mean, we were commenting. Was it 17 million or so that have been sold of the Switch last week? We were commenting about it. How many of those people are actually gonna even dream of trying to hack their unit? I mean, I wouldn't even.
Like 50,000, maybe.
Well, I mean, and not to say that that's a small number, but I mean, if those people are desperate enough where they want to take, food out of the mouths of people that work on these games, whatever. I mean, they're the ones who have to go to sleep at night. I mean, I think that's a shitty practice, but I've always thought it was a pretty shitty practice. I don't like it. But it is what it is. I mean, people are going to figure out how to exploit things. That's pretty much just the world we live in. It's going to happen with everything. I mean, there were plenty of hacks for consoles last gen, wasn't there?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
the 360 got hacked to pieces.
Yeah, it's just the industry. I mean, if anything, this is just not much of a surprise. It's unfortunate, but it's not really much of a surprise.
So next, I want to touch on the email.
The email.
What the email?
What the email?
Yeah, I'm gonna own this one. I have not been checking the email for the last few weeks, so there were a few things piled up there, and there were actually some excellent questions. So thank you everyone for submitting those. I would say that I didn't forget about you, but I kind of did. So yeah, we're gonna address some of these things now. A lot of them we're just gonna touch on, but there are some meatier issues here as well. So the first one I want to know is Sean playing Elder Scrolls Online? He should be.
I know I should be. I mean, I'm a total nerd for basically anything Elder Scrolls, but I'm not playing it. I never even. I actually way back went to some events when we were covering it in the beginning, and it interested me. But I think the thing that just pulls me away is I'm just the type of guy that I'm not interested in online play in any real capacity. And I know that you can make your way through ESO kind of playing solo. You could pretty much play through it solo. I don't like these persistent worlds where I'm forced to play with other people and have a chance at other people doing asshole things. I guess. I don't know.
What if you could hack your Switch to act as a private ESO server?
I'd hack the shit out of it.
World be damned, it would be done.
I did
take your scruples and
yeah. I don't know. I know I should be, and I have hovered more times than I can count, especially when the game's been on sale. And I think it's almost to the point now where I'm just intimidated to even bother getting in. And I know I should just do it. But...
Wasn't their last patch all of Morrowind?
Oh, yeah, it was. And I saw that, and it's like, my dick got so hard, guys. You have no idea. And I just like... It's just like I say, though, man, it's just like, I don't know. I look at it and I go... Ooh, I'm so close, and it's only $30. But then, and I think another thing that chases me away now is just my days of being able to commit that much time are kind of far behind me, and that kind of sucks. I don't have 100 hours or 200 hours put into a game anymore. I'm lucky. I mean, right now I'm fighting to get through God of War. I would have liked to have eaten that up over a course of a weekend if I could have. But no, I mean, I'm 7 hours in, 8 hours in, right? It
is pretty long too, that game.
And I'm glad though. I mean, I actually didn't anticipate it being as long as it is, so I'm really glad. What is it,
Up
30,
next,
35? 35 hours?
yep, 35, 40, somewhere in there.
That's good, man. Talk about value for your dollar. A game like
Hmm.
that. Go buy it.
Strong value.
Go buy it.
Up next, are there genres we hate except for one game? That comes in from John.
Like John, Crazy Jerry Mouse John?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Geez, that's tough. Trying to think here. I mean, because there's certain genres I literally just stay away from. Like, I'm not really interested in strategy games. Like, they're not for me. But I mean, and I'm probably getting ahead of myself here. Because obviously the game's not out, but I'm hella intrigued by Mutant Year Zero. That game looks super badass, and I think I might actually pick that up and get into it. And that's like an XCOM style game, which is a game or a genre that I wouldn't even think twice about usually.
Mm,
Yeah, that game looks really cool. I think it's the Talking Duck. Talking Ducks
right.
really fuck with me. It's cool shit.
So, are you saying, based on your interest in this particular Tuck and Duck, did you have anything resembling the same interest in, for example, Howard the Duck?
Uh,
Is this something that remember fondly, for example?
well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention to you that the last time I saw the original Howard the Duck movie was plus or minus a short 3 months ago.
Jeez, that is not the answer I was expecting.
I'm not going to go out so far as to say it's a good movie, but I have also watched it many more times than once.
Okay,
I realize my
so
quirks. I own them.
So maybe you're expecting Mutant Year Zero to be more in the anthropomorphic duck genre than the strategy genre.
I'm hoping. Yeah. I mean, just, anything with talking ducks is cool.
you have demonstrated this clearly.
The funny thing is the intro trailer or the announced trailer for Mutant Year Zero, and this is interesting because I can actually kind of pull it back to a conversation I had with a developer just today that I'm going to be working with here. I can't get into what they're doing, but basically the idea of how cinematic trailers are great and all, but gamers are also too smart to fall for them now because that trailer was completely cinematic and nobody knew what the genre was until 2 weeks later when another trailer came out and they're like, people are like, I hope this is, like this epic post-apocalyptic RPG, da 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 da. And people go, oh, it's an XCOM game. And so basically the power or should I say the lack of power that cinematic trailers that don't show gameplay have now because the audience is getting smarter. Oh, that looks cool, but it's not the game. So show me what the game does and then I'll be interested.
Mm.
Yeah.
I think for me, I'd be hard pressed to pick a genre where I hate everything except for one game. But I think we can all agree that even if there are genres that we don't like, every once in a while a game just gets its hooks into you for one reason or another. Whether it's because it has a talking duck or whatever else
But I like
you a little hot and bothered. I don't know.
I like being surprised like that though. I mean, I think that's the cool thing about this this is a hobby is you never know what might surprise you and you go, oh, I don't like that kind of game. I mean, I'm trying to pull something off the top of my head, but of course I'm going to end up drawing a blank. But I know it's happened before where you're like, that's not for me. And then, you dip into something in that genre and you're like, actually, that's pretty cool, right? That is an enjoyable surprise when it happens.
That's a hard thing for developers too, because how do you hook somebody that doesn't know they're going to like your game? We are and have been in unique positions being in the media where we just kind of get spoon-fed things sometimes that maybe we didn't want to play or didn't know we wanted to play until we played it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and that's true though, right? I mean, we're in that more unique position sometimes where it's like, yeah, we need somebody to cover this event. I'm not really into those games. Yeah, well, we need you to go. So you go and you cover it, and you're like, actually, yeah, like I'm a lot more into this than I expected, right? But then, like you say, cracking through to an audience, they're just not going to watch the trailer. They're just not going to watch anybody do any Let's Plays or streams or whatever. They're just going to tune out. So how do you loop that audience in? That's the great PR question, right? How do we get you in when you are telling us you don't want to be in, when we know that you might actually want to be in, right? That's part and parcel with the job that we do, right? Try and fool you into thinking that you want what we have. We'll not fool you. You do. You want what we have. We have the good stuff.
We got talking ducks.
Yeah, talking ducks. Actually, that is an Evolve represented game. I'm not on it, but that is an Evolve game. So there you go. We do have talking ducks at Evolve PR.
I want to see the next email from you be like, hey, we got talking ducks. Don't care what the project is, just talking ducks.
Just
right
talking. Well, I am the type of PR that I reach out to outlets individually instead of like by mass email. So you, Paul, specifically will get an email about talking ducks in short order.
The heavens.
In short
order.
order.
I can't wait. The last email we're going to cover this week comes in from Jeremy, who just ran across the podcast and ended up on COGconnected on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that.
Nice.
And he's been enjoying the behind the scenes industry type stuff we talked about. We talked about reviews. We've talked about the PR process a bit. He was really enjoying that stuff.
That's awesome, man. Thanks for listening. I like that. That's cool. I love that.
Mm-hmm. He is wondering what kind of content he can expect from you guys. I'm going to go ahead and say you guys, meaning COGconnected and Evolve PR. And what type of content are your attending team members specialized in?
Well, last year we brought down 7. I think there's still 7 of you guys going down this year.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 7 this year.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about the team. You got a freaking very diverse team. Diverse in terms of, what they like.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of different voices on that team.
Yeah, there are. There's myself, who I guess you probably know kind of what I'm interested in, and Trevor, you know him as well, and James. Outside of that, we've got Alex, who plays pretty much everything equally. Garrett, who's way into action games. Judy, who loves anime, and Michael, who, he would play anything we gave him, but I think he's pretty into fighters. So we got quite a variety of team members. Yeah.
And it's so hard now. The show has changed over the past couple of years here. So the way that content's covered has changed. And even with you guys too, like there's so much more focus on, it's not just written articles anymore, right? You gotta, so whether that's live video, live reaction stuff, I'm sure you guys are coming up with all sorts of really cool ways to be able to cover. We always try to make every year better than the last. And COG really hit it out of the park last year. We had so much coverage, and not just the news, right? The news team went to work hard on during all the press conferences and everything else. But the amount of hands-on coverage that we had, that sort of thing, we did really, really well. So, if it's an improvement over last year, you guys are going to hit it out of the park again. It's awesome.
Yep. Still going to focus on a lot of hands-on articles, lots of impressions. Leaning more into the video side this year, we've got 2 team members who are experienced with video and capture and camera work and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to be doing as much of that as possible. The YouTube should be on fire, blowing up.
I hope
at
you
all
guys.
Hours.
I hope you guys do a video for all the awards again. Mostly,
we will.
So
we've discussed it.
Mostly so we can see Trevor play like the Silent Bob routine again, because it was just gold. I think we were giving away. I think it was the Prettiest Pony Award, and Trevor broke into this like I'm riding like a hobby horse type thing. Like he's like trotting in place, but then he did this thing where like he licked his fingers and like stroked his eyebrows back or something. It was the funniest thing, man. Like he was just so goofy, and he did it so well. Like he deadpanned it. It was so fantastic.
Yeah, I think we're going to give him a different persona this year, just because we can, just to see his range.
To see
I'm
his.
sure he'll fulfill it beautifully.
Of course he will. I mean, and then for me at E3, I mean, I don't know if we're going to be able to do it. It is a really busy week. I mean, if there's a week that we dead skip, that's probably got to be one of them. I mean, you just get so swamped at E3, you just don't really have the time. But I'm there in like a new capacity, so I'm looking forward to maybe the week after once we're all back, just to kind of reflect on my experience where I'm dealing with the media from the opposite side. I've always been the guy asking the media, oh hey, I'm here for my appointment and da 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 da, and now I'm gonna be the guy catering to it. It's a total role reversal. So I'm half petrified, like I'm scared to death of it. I don't know where I'm gonna be just yet, or whatnot, but I know I'm gonna be there. So it'll be interesting to look at it. The fact that I've got that lens from 5 years worth of going there from your side of it. So should be fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think we'll record a little something maybe on the Sunday night to talk about the press conferences and stuff. Yeah, unsure how long that will be. It will be a very, very busy week.
Yeah, it is. It wears on you. I mean, E3 used to literally be 3 days. Now it's, by time it's 5 days of events, but 5 days of events, but you've got to be in town a day early, and basically it turns into a week-long convention. And
yep.
I mean, bottom line is that conventions, yeah, you're there to work, but you party pretty hard too. So it takes a bit of a toll on your body. By the end of the week, you're just beat to shit. So
and it keeps pushing back too. I mean, we're getting in on Saturday morning this year.
Yep.
Because there's stuff on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, EA, right?
Yeah.
Fucking bastards.
They just really want everybody's full attention, so they make sure that the event is a day early and 45 minutes away from everything else that's happening over the whole week. That way, nobody's going to be doing anything else.
Yeah, I guess if you saunter all the way out to the Palladium, that's basically what you've resigned yourself to doing. You're like, we're here now. We might as well do something.
I mean, if they can match what they did a couple years ago, where I saw the highest looking Zac Efron. I mean,
wasn't he playing Madden with Snoop?
Battlefield.
Oh,
and Snoop had the biggest joint sticking out of his mouth.
What a surprise!
And I was looking over his shoulder watching him play, and he was literally facing a wall, running into the wall, like straight ahead. Like he had no clue what was going on. It was amazing.
Oh my god.
I'm so upset at you for not immediately realizing you're like, I should be filming this.
They have a very strict no cameras policy at EA Play, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're right. They do. They do. Yep. Even if it's Snoop too high to play video games?
That should be on camera. That's so important that we capture that.
Right. I'm pretty sure it was streamed, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's video of that.
It's for the good of all humankind.
It's a warning.
That's right. That's right. Don't do drugs, kids.
All right, let's bust through the releases pretty quick here. Sean, do you want to lead the way?
Sure. It's a busy week, really. I mean, because we had some slow weeks, but Frostpunk came out. Well, we're recording today, so Tuesday on the 24th. It seems to be getting some pretty good reviews all around, so that's good.
Looks rad.
It does look rad. Good. It's like a cross between a city builder / survival sim. You basically play the benevolent or not so benevolent leader of like this last society in a frozen wasteland. So you're trying to decide whether it forces you to make some really tough decisions. Whether like you're putting kids to work, or if this guy's sick, you're gonna start amputating people and eating their limbs. Like it's brutal.
Yeah,
it's really brutal.
Important point. You hear us talking about how, you have to make these tough decisions, and you think, I wonder how often I'm going to encounter that. About every 4 minutes of gameplay. Yeah, it's gonna come up a lot. You're not gonna get more than a couple minutes to relax before it's like, hey, so we putting human meat in the soup yet, or like, when's that going down?
That's really good.
That sounds like a podcast title to me.
Are we putting human meat in the soup yet, or what? Oh, that's so good, James.
I mean, I'd like to unpack that more, but I think we should move on to the next release.
Let's keep rocking and rolling.
Yeah. What else came out? BattleTech, which is obviously a mech game, I would assume.
Yeah, it's some kind of mech RPG thing.
Yeah. South Park Fractured But Whole came out on the Switch, but don't go buy it because inevitably you're going to be able to just fucking nuke your Switch and steal it, right? Not that I promote that sort of thing. I'm just saying. I mean,
No.
Apparently, Galgun 2.
But not in Canada.
Galgun 2 is not in Canada?
It's in the States and it's in the UK, but you cannot buy it officially at any Canadian retailers for reasons that I have yet to be able to uncover.
I'm assuming, you being the resident weeb here, that you're really pissed about this.
No. It distresses me, the fact that this game exists and that it is a sequel to another game that distresses me, and that should not exist. Yet, here it is. I'm just an impartial observer here to tell you that if you want to buy it, you have to import it from some other part of the world. Besides this one.
For me, I don't know, Galgun, I don't know anything about it, but just the name, all it makes me think of is the fembots from Austin Powers.
That's pretty much it. It is gals and guns, quite literally.
With like, but do they have gun boobs?
No, it's a whimsical sexual assault simulator.
The hits just keep on coming from James today.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you laugh now. Wait till you watch some fucking gameplay footage. It is surreal.
I don't know, man. Like, human meat in the soup is one thing, but whimsical sexual assault simulator is a hell of a title. I don't know if that's going to pass the censors, though.
I don't think it will.
Oh my god. You're a comedy goldmine. Shit.
Anyway, up next, Swords of Ditto.
That game looks cool, man. That looks like kind of like old school Zelda-ish, but then like super, like really fun animation. I believe it's a bit of a roguelike.
Yeah, it's got, I think Devolver is publishing it, so it's got some of that Devolver flair.
Yeah, it is Devolver, so.
Yeah, it's hot to death, and I highly recommend everybody check it out.
Cool.
Yep.
The next one on the list, I'm not sure if it ended up actually coming out, because I've been working with these guys, but for an article, but Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption, which looks like a super, super rad game. Kind of cel-shaded in spots. Very much pulls from Dark Souls. I'm not going to say Dark Souls-like, because people will get up in arms. But it definitely, even the developers are saying that they're quite inspired by it. I know that it's geared to go to Switch. I don't know if it was delayed or not. I'm curious if it actually came out. You shut up. Is it coming to Switch?
Yes, it is, Sean.
This one is.
Yes, it is.
This one is for sure. But I haven't heard anything about it, so I have a feeling it got pushed back.
And last but not least, Murderous Pursuits.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun thing. Like, if you were into like Assassin's Creed multiplayer, where you're trying to hide in plain sight and catch your quarry type thing, it's a really cool game. It's not for me. That's not the type of game that I would necessarily enjoy playing. But the feedback. One of my coworkers is working on this one. Actually, is working on Murderous Pursuits, and the feedback that we've seen is anybody who's really into that sort of stealthy sort of stuff is really, really liking it. So I hope it does well, because I know that the people who all work at that studio are really, really fantastic human beings. I quite like them.
And we have some video of that one on the site, and I know the guys who played it really enjoyed it. So yeah, look forward to that one.
Yeah, I'm curious how how it views versus how it plays. I mean, almost curious, like, if it might be like not the most entertaining thing to watch, but it's like it is challenging while you're playing it and pretty fun. You know, like, yeah. But not every game is meant to be streamed, I guess. I don't know.
I was just going to say you're absolutely right. Although a lot of companies are kind of gearing specifically towards that like streamer friendly content, sometimes you just have to make something that's more fun to play.
Yeah, yeah, and this one to me felt like more fun to play than I mean than to watch. I don't know how much time I would spend watching it myself, but yeah,
there you go.
But that's
Nothing
releases.
huge, but lots of little niche things that could be really cool if you're into them. Especially
one of them,
Gal Gun 2.
One of them might be a genre you hate, but you just might love the game. You never know.
Yeah, maybe Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption will be some people's first Souls.
Oh, I can't believe you went there. You're a ballsy human. You know, it's actually funny. I'm not really big into roguelike. There's a genre that I don't really enjoy at all. But I already hovered over Swords of Ditto, and I think I'm going to end up picking it up.
Okay, all right. Sorry.
Nope, go ahead.
I was just going to say, quick note. I will say that when I was capturing video footage for Swords of Ditto, I was up until about 11 o'clock at night playing. There was an error. My save file got deleted. And instead of quitting, I took this as a sign that I needed to play for 2 more hours before I went to bed. So it's pretty good.
Nice.
I guess.
Nice.
All right.
I'm
Okay.
all about it.
All right, last but not least this week, it's the perfect list.
Oh, can I say the dreaded perfect list?
You know, I think this one's going to be easy.
Okay.
It's going to be cake. It's going to be cake.
Okay. I'm gonna go in with that positive go-getter attitude and say that this one's gonna be easy.
Yeah, they're just gonna start flying out of our mouths, and this is gonna take literally mere minutes.
All right, let's do it.
In honor of Dad of Kid, God of War, Child
Dad of Boy,
Dad of Boy.
I'm gonna take as many chances as I can to just say that, boy.
Can you say it one more time so I can get a soundbite?
Boy.
There we go. And I am, in fact, working on a soundbite library for our podcast. So you guys can look forward to that.
You should get it set up on like one of them little MIDI boards, like a little soundboard where you can just throw them in while we're recording on the fly.
Oh yeah. Don't you worry.
You're a cocksucker. That's what you are. You should. Oh, James. We'll have to send it to you, but Paul, from that episode, Paul pulled that sound bite, and it's so much better without the background noise of you and me, Paul, laughing, where it's just Trevor and his anger, and it's the funniest fucking thing. You're a cocksucker, and there's like a split second of silence, and it's just like such an emphatic, that's what you are! Like, he was mad! And it's so funny, and I cannot wait for you to use that. It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard, because he is so legit angry.
Anyways, we digress, and we are going to come up with a perfect list. It's going to be 10 games that need the God of War treatment.
That need the God of War treatment. Okay, so...
And what I mean by that is that these are franchises that in one way or another have gotten a little bit stale. Despite the fact that God of War Ascension got very good, favorable reviews, people were kind of bored with the rote nature of that series at that point. And the new God of War fixed that. So let's come up with 10 other franchises that need to flip it up and do something different.
Okay, so franchises that they don't necessarily have to be stale, but maybe something that could just franchise from a little bit of or work, benefit from a little bit of flipping the script.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right.
And I don't mind going first on this one.
Good.
Because I came up with so many so quickly, and it was not hard.
Well, you're lucky.
Yeah.
So says the guy who gets to create the perfect list, right, James?
Yeah. I do get a slight head start. That's for sure.
Tiniest bit.
Anyways, the first franchise I'm gonna go with is Halo.
Okay.
You can't deny that it could use a refresh. People weren't really down with 5.
Halo 4, Halo 5, like
You know what?
I got 3/4 the way through the first mission, and I was just done with Halo 5. I was like, no.
I was legitimately bored with 5. Actually,
Mhm.
I just I'm with you. I didn't stick very long. I might have got a little further than that, but yeah.
People are getting a lot of mileage out of 5 with the Forge map editor, so people can create their own like maps to fuck around with and like go and like shoot each other on. But I mean, yeah, the actual campaign could have been better.
Could have been better.
What do we got for him, James?
Does that mean James is up next, or
Yeah.
Sure. Okay, so the next one that could definitely use a bit of a boost would be the Megamans. You know,
the Mans of Mega?
the Mans of Mega, the Mega Men. There's only like a gajillion entries, and they're not like super distinct from one another, fundamentally, mechanically speaking.
Well, no,
So,
they're not.
yeah,
They're not. I mean, could you imagine, like, I mean, not that everything needs to go into like over the shoulder, third person, da 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 da, but could you imagine a Mega Man game that plays fundamentally different from everything that we've ever known? I mean, this is a character that, like, I mean,
Well,
you love.
well,
You-
they kind of tried to do that with Mega Man Legends 1 and 2, and
But I mean something that's
They're-
actually good.
yeah, because those are basically unplayable at this point. I went back to try those games, and it's bad. It's real bad. So so yeah, let's do something modern and fresh that controls not like a tank missing one of its treads, and we'll see where it goes from there.
I think that's a good
Mega Man,
choice.
I'm down. Let's
I think that's a good choice.
reboot it. Sean,
So I guess
hit me up.
we're with me now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do you got?
I'm thinking. I don't know. I don't want to say that this is a franchise that necessarily needs to improve, because it's a franchise we haven't seen in a long, long time, but something that was like super special. And if anything, I wish they would just bring it back. But obviously, they can't bring it back in the same way. They have to do more with it to make it stick to today's audience. Chrono Trigger. That game was an absolute master of its time. Not only in terms of JRPG, but it brought a hell of a story. And I would love to see, like, especially if they stuck with some of the same characters too, but a modernized version. Obviously not the same thing, but something new out of the Chrono Trigger series would, I think too. I mean, Christ, the amount of press that would get, like, people would lose their shit to see something fresh in that series.
I think you have a really good point, that they could not do the same thing again, Sean. I think that was proved by I Am Setsuna, which reviewed reasonably well, but was absolutely patterned after Chrono Trigger, but just did not have that same... it didn't have the ability to hook people the same way, so they'd really have to change it up.
It was like Chrono Trigger, but with like just like the sad scenes. So it was like sad Chrono. It was like Sad Trigger, and people want more out of it than that.
Well, I'm interested to see. I mean, I covered I Am Setsuna, and I really, really enjoyed it. But inevitably, it was just constantly compared to. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay, they're really trying to model it after Chrono Trigger, but it's not Chrono Trigger. You know what I mean? I think there's something to be said for I Am Setsuna. I mean, I still think it was a good game, but the comparisons were inevitable. So even making a new one in the same franchise itself would, if it tried to go up against the original, it would inevitably probably fail, because it just did what it did so right. So to try and do it without making it look like just a carbon copy would be really, really tough. What is it? Project Octopath Traveler. I mean, that's another Chrono Trigger like that has an opportunity to really stand out.
It's a Sega sequel.
Really?
Really?
Yeah,
I was pretty sure it was
yeah.
Square.
Well, no, but I mean, it's the Square has an old series of games called like the Sega series. So it's like Sega Frontier,
Oh
or
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
okay, yeah,
and,
yeah.
yeah, where they have like multiple characters coming from different perspectives that eventually kind of merge or whatever.
Oh, okay.
And previous games in the series did not do well critically, so it will be interesting to see how Octopath Traveler does when it's released.
I
It's
played the
definitely getting
demo and
some
I really
buzz.
liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was fucking beautiful.
Hmm.
So I mean, that's good.
you can only
Always a good
hope.
start.
Yeah, yeah,
Is it me?
I guess we're back to
yeah.
you,
It's you.
Paul.
Yep.
I think this is an easy pick. Final Fantasy.
Hell yeah.
They kind of
Okay.
tried with 15.
I'm going to throw it out there,
they
man. I don't like
kinda
15.
man. I liked some of it, or I liked stretches of it, and then there was just crushing, brutal abuse and sadness that was overwhelming for the majority of the game.
How about the fact that I don't want to fucking stop and have somebody take a picture? I don't want to fucking cook food at a campfire. Like elements that are absolutely fucking retarded and don't belong in a Final Fantasy game. How about that?
So what you're saying is they need to reboot it by getting rid of all of the new elements
That are
that
bullshit.
deviate from the Final Fantasy formula.
So
like a deboot. What you're saying? You want a deboot of Final Fantasy?
Yeah, basically, because what they did is bullshit.
Okay.
But what if the story was
And
like
fuck
if
you for
15
saying so. Way to make
What
me
if
feel
15 had
stupid.
actually nailed the story, or they'd bothered to finish the story? It would have been a completely different story because the action was reasonably engaging, and I thought it looked really nice, obviously. And
Oh, it's
the
gorgeous.
music was good, and they whiffed hard on the story.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know if we're in for anything. I mean, at this point, the hype far outweighs what that end product's going to be when they eventually get around to 7 remaster or whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, those games are fucked.
They
don't have
they
a
really
chance.
feel like they're fucked. They feel like, I mean, they're going to be the victim of like a heavy amount of hype that there's just no way
Well,
they're going to
they can't win. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what they
Yeah.
make. Somebody's going to
Worst
be mad
case
about it.
scenario, they actually just take Final Fantasy VII and make it modern, and people have all of that game's incredible, unbearable flaws brought into the cold light of day, and they're like, "No, we didn't want this. We wanted a different thing."
Yeah, yeah. I almost, if they had, like, when they announced it, if they had capitalized on that big announce. I mean, I was there when they announced it at the Sony press conference, and people were losing their fucking mind. But again, same situation where if you announce it and maybe release it within the next year, as opposed to announcing it and 4 years later we still don't have it, it's going to buckle under the weight of its own hype, and it's not going to do well. That's my prediction. And I feel pretty comfortable on that. I mean, sometimes it's like I think I'm Nostradamus up here, and it's just like the world's going to end on such and such a day. I feel very confident that Final Fantasy VII Remake is going to suck.
Yep.
As much as I want it to be good. I want to be wrong so bad.
Yeah, but you won't.
Yeah, I know. I know.
James, can you put your positivity towards another pick, please?
Okay. Next on this list that I think we should really do more with would be the Mana series, like your Secret of Mana, your Legend of Mana, your Sword of Mana. Yeah, well, I mean, at least one of them was, and then the others were okay, and then everything they made after 2001 was games, but I don't know if they were good. So I mean, if they decided to reboot the series, they could not possibly do worse.
Didn't they blow the remake of the only good one too?
No. What they did was they faithfully remade the original game, and again, it's like the Final Fantasy VII problem. All the things that were fucked about Secret of Mana were suddenly under a microscope, and it's like, oh wait, this is all actually really stupid. Like putting like the stupid wait times between all the strikes that you do, and the slow, shitty, grindy nature of the magic system, and the fact that like the story is really, well, it's okay, and like there's all these weird little mechanical things that they took with them to the new version. So it's like you got what you wanted, but you didn't know that you didn't actually want that until it was too late.
Gotcha. Well, we spoke on that last week about, when we were chatting about Xbox, like backward compatibility is some things are just better left, with a lot of good nostalgia, because what you think was fantastic suddenly, when you get to play it 10 years later, you go, oh yeah, that's not the way I remember it at all. And it just doesn't stack up anymore. So some things are better left in the past.
It'd be if this newest God of War was just like the original, but with better graphics, it would make people uncomfortable.
All right, Sean.
How about, and maybe because we touched on this last week, how about a new Castlevania that's not on iOS? Like a real Castlevania game.
Okay, but like a 2D one or a 3D one?
I'd be super down with 3D.
Okay.
I would be. I would be super down with, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we want to, again, same way I said with like Mega Man, like not every game needs the whole over the shoulder third person treatment. But I think a really good Castlevania game with like a super in-depth storyline and branching side quests and like, working through and earning different abilities and stuff like that. I think that could be like crazy good.
Pardon me for saying so, but wouldn't a 3D really well done Castlevania be a lot like Dark Souls?
But less hard.
Okay.
Really? I feel like a Castlevania game should be at least as hard as Dark Souls if it's gonna be like any good.
Shut your mouth. The only reason I say shut your mouth is because I want to actually play it and succeed, and I can't Dark Souls. I've tried.
What if they at least give you the option for can I play daddy mode?
Fuck can I play daddy mode for one. I am not. No, actually, I am ashamed to admit it. There was one mission in Wolfenstein where I had to drop it down, or I shouldn't say one. It was when I hit the point of having to drop it down. Was the courtroom scene in Wolfenstein 2. Ugh. And I got fucking slaughtered again and again and again and again. And I finally was just like, I gotta do it. I gotta drop it down to Can I Play Daddy? And my wife was in the room and she just kind of sniggered at me. It just is. It is what it is. But I'd play Castlevania, I guess, yeah, even if it had sissy mode. But a game like that, yeah. I just think it's more so than anything is I think Konami should stop trying to make iOS games and fucking maybe develop a proper game. Yeah, sick burn.
It's the sickest of burns.
Sick burn.
I'm going to go with another pick here, and that is going to be... I'm going to go with Dead Rising.
Okay.
I like Dead Rising.
I love Dead Rising 1. Dead Rising 2?
Yeah, what was the other one? Riptide Island? Or Riptide Island? Was that?
No, that's Dead Island.
It's like a different game.
Oh, Dead Island. Yeah, no, Dead Island versus Dead Rising. Yeah. Capcom
Dead Rising
versus
is Frank West and the mall on
Yeah.
They've lost the thread so badly. As much as I like chainsaws that are also flamethrowers, they've got to go back to the drawing board. They've got to do something different with that franchise. And I think I heard earlier today actually that they're going back to the well on Dead Rising.
Oh, really? Yeah, actually, I heard that. I heard that Capcom Vancouver is hiring. So, inevitably, that's what they're working on. That's what the idea seems to be. I quite liked 1, but I never really came in after that. Was it 3 I managed to get when the Xbox One was pretty much shortly just after it released, and I kind of got into it, but it didn't hold me. And then 4, I just avoided. I didn't even. It didn't pull me at all.
Same here.
I think in order to really succeed in that genre, and then by that genre I mean like zombies, it's starting to feel a little stale. You got to do something different.
Yeah, you can't just go wrecking through hordes of zombies. There's got to be a little more weight,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
but not melodramatic weight. Like, it's a tricky balance. It's not easy, that's for sure.
Yeah, we can do with that melodrama.
Mm-hmm. James, your final pick.
My final pick is going to be Ninja Gaiden because, because they're like one of the older franchises famous for being super fucking hard. And I feel like with Dark Souls catching all this like crazy attention and, this resurgence, a renaissance of tough ass games, if you will, I feel that Ninja Gaiden has this perfect chance to come back and reclaim the throne with like a fresh release that would, reestablish the series as the toughest fucking series out there.
I think that's cool and all, but my guess is that Ninja Theory is immediately going, well, how about Hellblade 2?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm with you, man. I always loved Ninja Gaiden. Loved. Never was very good, but I loved it.
What if Hellblade 2 occurred hundreds of years later in Japan with ninjas?
Ooh, you might be onto something.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm down.
I am on board with that pick, James. Sean, give us a perfect last pick.
Ooh, gosh, no pressure, eh? The last pick. So,
well, I have one more, but
oh, do you have another one?
Your last pick.
Oh, my last pick. So it's not as weighty as the last pick.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty weighty though.
Well, I think I'm racking my brain here, and I think, and hear me out on this, because you might start laughing at me the second you hear the words that come out of my mouth, but there's some seriousness behind the words that I'm saying. Paul doesn't believe me.
No, I don't believe you.
How about, and again, I'm just, before you stop me, let me roll a little bit here. How about Q*bert? I can't even say it with a straight face. Well, like, so there's, we're talking about games that need, and I'm going to use your own words against you here, the God of War treatment. So Q*bert is at the bottom of a lonely polygonal pyramid tower, a mountain, if you will, with little Q*bert Jr. And they're on a quest, a difficult quest to deliver Q*bert Mama's ashes to the top of said polygonal pyramid tower. Boy. I don't know how Q*bert specifically says boy, but
it's just a series of symbols.
So,
yeah.
So seriously, but not seriously, but kind of seriously, I'm voting Q*bert.
Okay. But I mean, like, I understand in that if they made just another Q*bert, it would have to be like a God of War level departure from the previous games, because they're like 1,000 fucking years old, and like anything they do at this point would necessarily be a pretty big change, right?
Yeah. I mean, some fresh enemies, and
you could also go down the path that Q*bert is a representation of the puzzle genre as a whole, which needs to be altered.
Sure.
They're very long in the tooth.
Sure.
Oh yeah, just okay, sure.
I wasn't thinking that, but
sure.
Yes.
This is officially more thought than you put into it originally. Okay, all right.
Q*bert deserves his chance to shine.
Okay.
Perfect pick. Really great.
Yeah, really perfect.
All right, Paul. All right, Paul. Round us out. What do we got? What's our 10th?
Well, I'm really tempted to say the Zelda series, but I feel like Breath of the Wild kind of already did that.
Yes. Yeah, it did.
Yes.
I was, thinking of Wind Waker and Spirit Tracks and
There's
all those
definitely a way
games
that they
were
could.
exactly the same. But Breath of the Wild, I think that does the trick. I don't
Yeah,
know where
I
they go
mean-
from here, but
And that's what I mean. It's fair to say that like they could do something completely different than Breath of the Wild, and it could be amazing. But yeah, but still, they pretty much flipped it on its head with Breath of the Wild to begin with. So tough call on that one. I don't know.
what I'm actually going to pick could be applied to any number of games within a genre. But I'm going to pick, because we're Canadian, the NHL series.
Okay, but like, how would they do something to depart from the formula in a way that still made them NHL games?
Yes, yeah. How do you make a hockey game that's not really a hockey game?
Oh no, they can still
you-
make a hockey game. What they need to do is throw away all the mechanics and code that they're still using from like NHL 2001 and makes the game a piece of shit every year. Yes, I'm saying it. The NHL games are shit. They are awful.
Okay, so
I know a lot of people that would agree with you, though, to be honest. I mean, and these are guys that are diehard NHL fans, and they're like, I don't buy it anymore, man. I'm tired of it. Or they go, the only reason I buy it is because everybody else upgrades and I play in various leagues, da-da-da-da, but they bitch about it constantly. They don't actually like it.
But if you wanted to actually play an NHL game, you should just go to your local GameStop and buy NHL 09
94.
or something, because it's exactly
94.
the same as 2018. Like 94, of course, if you can find it. That's the best, scientifically best NHL game ever made.
Fuck it. Just
Except, well...
just play Blades of Steel.
Ooh! Yes. I love Blades of Steel.
Me too.
Turn NHL into 3D Blades of Steel. Yes! God of War treatment.
What was
Bingo.
it?
yes.
What was do you remember what was that arcade hockey game? It wasn't meant to be serious at all because I'm pretty sure it was like 3-on-3 and it was like super cartoony and comic booky and basically
NHL hits.
No, it wasn't NHL. No, it wasn't NHL anything, but like basically the whole point like one of the guys was like this big bruiser with like this friggin' bush of a beard. And inevitably, it was just about getting in big fights out in the middle of the ice. It was like a hockey fighting game. We're talking, and man, it would have been in arcades in like 95, 96.
Yeah, I think I know the one you mean.
I can't remember the name of the game. We should do something like that. That was fun.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So there we have it. There's our 10 games that need the God of War treatment. We've got Halo, Castlevania, NHL, Dead Rising, Final Fantasy, Mega Man's, Qbert, the Mana series, Chrono Trigger, and Ninja Gaiden.
Pretty respectable list, except for one.
Yeah, I can't
I know.
believe you put the Mana series on there.
I was gonna say Ninja Gaiden was kind of a dark horse, but like clearly Qbert's got to be on the fucking list.
That lovable fluff ball gets no respect. None at all.
Nope.
Any last thoughts, boys, before we get out of here and go back to playing God of War?
I knowing that James is going to be guesting for at least a couple more weeks with us, I would like James to think about this week and bring back to the cast next week a little bit more in-depth thought on what he referred to as, and I quote, a whimsical sexual assault simulator. That's just something I feel like I need a little bit more understanding on. So,
You know what? Okay, that's great homework. Next week, I will come back with more detail on what I consider to be the sequel to a whimsical sexual assault simulator.
I'm just asking somewhere between 500 to 700 words, just an in-depth with references type of article that I would like for you to read out loud so I can get a better understanding as to what this is.
I'll fucking do it, Sean.
It's like you never missed a beat, Sean. You're just right back into that. I need 500 to 700 words with keyword density about 1.5%.
It's the editor in me. It's I'm looking
damn
for
spot.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
All right, well, that's going to do it for us. If you'd like to get in touch, you can send us an email. It's pressxpodcast@gmail.com, or you can get onto the Facebook group and interact with us there. We've been going back and forth with people, and it's been fun so far, but we would like more bodies in the room, more fingers on the keyboards, all that good stuff. If you liked what you heard, make sure you share it, because we'd like to keep doing this for a real long time.
We'd like to get a beer sponsor.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We'd like to get a beer sponsor, if possible. So if you know anyone,
It's not surprising that I beat you to the punch on beer. And we'd like a beer sponsor.
I mean, I barely paused. It was like a half second and you were in there.
I'm pretty fast when it comes to alcoholism.
You are.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Until next time, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.